maestro, the beloved Jeffrey Anderson, rounding out your officiating crew tonight on a Tuesday in Salt Lake City. Utah with one game after this before the Big 12 schedule begins. It's on Saturday in Sioux Falls against the Iowa Hawkeyes. Madsen has it knocked loose, fortuitous bounce, and Lovering misses the game's first attempt. So Florida A&M 3-5 on the season. They've won 2 straight, just poured in 130 points in their last game against Trinity College, an NAIA program, and see a lot of shuffling around the rotation and lineups for this team that ranks among the best in college basketball in spreading out their minutes.
They've had 11 different guys start this year for them, Chris. 13 guys who average double digits, and yet they're not starting their leading scorer, Sterling Young, tonight.
Well, Gabe Madsen, 44th straight start tonight.
And Hunter Erickson, as you mentioned, getting his very first start here in a running uniform. Played all 37 games last year, which he and 3 others tie for the most games played in a single season for the running Utes. He and Gabe Madsen started all 37 of those games. But I think that was a really good move by Coach Craig Smith, in that Hunter Erickson, I think you reward him, but Mike Sherrod-Jones has really struggled here in the last 4 games with kind of a confidence issue more than anything, which is really surprising. So I think he took some pressure off of him, let him come off the bench, and again, reward Hunter Erickson.
Yeah, Erickson 3 triples in that performance a few nights ago. Eatman whistled for traveling before Ezra Asar nearly leapfrogged over the Florida A&M big man.
Well, that was nice execution there, but Eatman just kind of shuffled. He couldn't get the handle on it, and that's why he ended up traveling. But really a nice pass there by Shakur O'Neal. First sub already, just 1 minute into the game for Florida A&M. As I said, 13 different guys average double figures, so look for them to run in and out pretty quick.
Off the Madsen miss, a foul on Lawson Lovering, first on the big fella. And Florida A&M will get the ball back. Still in search of our first points tonight. Utah's final home non-conference game of the season.
And that 130-point game that the Rattlers had 11 days ago. They had 3 different guys have 20 points. They only returned 3 players from last year's team, and they're starting all 3 of them tonight. You see that pass coming to me, Chris? They thought they were throwing to the best shooter in the gym, which obviously was me. They knew I was an Indiana guy.
Yeah, Florida A&M, they've got 10 newcomers on this squad, 9 transfers, just 6 wins last season. Brought in Patrick Crary, who was a Sweet 16 head coach at the NAIA level.
2 different NAIA, 2 back-to-back NAIA national tournaments, which is one of the great national tournaments in college basketball.
Going to stay here with the Utes. They missed their first 2 shots from the field. Utah shot 46% in their 18-point victory here Saturday night over Radford. 10 made threes in that game, 36 paint points. It was a balanced effort from Craig Smith's squad, and it was a birthday victory for the Utes head coach.
And as usual, they had 28 field goals and 22 assists.
Well, Gabe Madsen cashes in on his 38th triple of the season to light the lamp tonight.
251st of his career. I'm telling you, when the Utes run a end-out-of-bounds play, you better find Gabe Madsen, because more times than not, they're coming for him to get a shot, and they did just that.
Erickson pulls up. Missed it off the front rim.
Good shot by Erickson right at the free throw line. He started the last game draining his first 3 three-point shot attempts.
Charles rushed the attempt inside. Jameen Charles had a 9-point game earlier this year at Florida. Madsen finds Miro Little, the sophomore from Finland, transferred from Baylor.
Madsen, that last lineup, he didn't have a great shooting night their last game, but he led the team in rebounding at 5. And Ezra Azar finds himself at the free throw line again. Here's Gabe Matson off that end out of bounds play. As I said, if you are guarding him on an end out of bounds play, you better strap it on because they are coming to him. Here's Azar with a terrific finish there. Coming into this game, 63 free throws by Ezra Azar. He shot 199 at East Carolina last year. He has an unbelievable knack for finding himself at the free throw line.
He's missed all 3 of his free throw attempts in this game, but he's able to board his miss. Azar finds Lovering, and he stepped out.
Interesting stats on Azar. He was the 3rd leading rebounder and scorer at East Carolina last year, and this year for the Utes, 3rd leading rebounder, 3rd leading scorer.
All he needs to do is change his jersey number from 2 to 3.
Well, if he would shoot above 60% from the free throw line, he'd certainly help himself a lot. Boy, he's getting every rebound though tonight.
Coffey on the missed 3. Florida A&M has whiffed on its first 4 attempts. And Utah turns it over again.
2 straight turnovers for Utah. They only had 8 in their last game. They're usually very, very efficient with the ball. Only 10 against St. Mary's in that rock fight here a week ago, or a little bit more than a week ago when they lost to St. Mary's. So they've been very good at not turning the ball over with 2 quick ones here tonight.
Craig Smith will get some more size in the game. Now Mason Madsen, Caleb Lohner, and Zach Keller checking in off the Runnin' Utes bench. And remember, the bench poured in 39 of the 81 points for Utah on Saturday night against the Radford Highlanders.
Well, I mentioned in the open 2 different double-digit scores in that game off the bench. Mason Madsen was one. Hunter Erickson with his career-high 18. And then Jake Wallin had 8 points off the bench. So the most bench points the Utes have had this entire year at 39.
FAMU still trying to get into the point column almost 4 minutes in. And Young stepped out. So already a 4th Rattler giveaway.
The Utes are 3rd in the Big 12 in scoring defense, 2nd in field goal defense at holding their opponents to 37%. So the Rattlers getting off to this slow start is really no coincidence, especially here on the Utes home court.
Keller kicks it. Madsen raises and buries the 3.
What a terrific display of half-court unselfish basketball. A nice pass into Zach Keller, who drove it and passed it like a point guard out to Gabe Madsen for his 2nd 3-point shot of the game.
Gabe Madsen's hit his first 2 attempts from 3-point territory after going just 3 of 11 from the long line on Saturday. Another Radford miss as Young missed everything on the floater. Gabe Madsen loses the handle. And last touched by FAMU. 8-0 start for Utah at home. Couple early 3s for Gabe Madsen.
Well, it's just great team basketball. Draw and kick by a 6'10" guy. Running Utes up 8-0 here in the Huntsman Center. We'll be right back.
That program to the Sweet 16. He says in these power conference games, and he's had a fair share of them already at FAMU, you got to execute to the highest level, bring an extra sense of urgency, and right now his team has missed their first 5 shots while watching Utah score the first 10 points of the game as Caleb Lohner gets into the point column with his first bucket.
And that was a great up screen there by Mason Madsen. That was supposed to be pick the picker, where you pick a big guy and a big guy picks for you, and that shot was supposed to kind of go to Mason Madsen, but terrific up screen for him to spring the big guy for an easy basket.
First FAMU points courtesy of Shakir O'Neal, the redshirt junior from Los Angeles, son of the Big Diesel, the great Shaquille O'Neal. Lohner finds Keller off the window and in.
That's a couple great big guy passes. Remember, Keller had that great draw and kick off the ball, dribble and drive, and Caleb Lohner then kind of matched him with, they're both playing like small forwards tonight.
This time O'Neal turns it over. Mason Madsen off the back iron on his first attempt, and it ricochets out. Shakir O'Neal, who had 20 points last time in FAMU's victory at home over Trinity College, spent the last 3 seasons in the SWAC at Texas Southern. Older brother Sharif played collegiately at UCLA and LSU, just like their father Shaquille, and younger sister Miara enjoying a nice start to her college basketball journey down in Gainesville with the Florida Gators. Matthews lets it fly, and it's tapped out. A second effort. Florida A&M knocked down 17 threes in their most recent game last Friday. Hendricks on the drive. It rolls off. Eatman had his hands on it, but it ricochets to Madsen. Utah basketball up 9.
The Rattlers attempted 39 threes in that game.
Miro Little off the front of the rim.
Miro Little 2 games ago had his very first career double-double against St. Mary's and played a terrific game. Played really well last game. Didn't have great stats. Only 1 rebound, 2 assists, which are both lows for him this season. He did tie his season high 2 steals, but Miro Little has solidified himself as the point guard this year and in the future for the running Utes.
O'Neal misses off the side of the rim. It's a 1 for 10 start from the floor for Florida A&M. Keller from distance.
Great hustle rebound then by Mason Madsen. I thought that was a really good shot by Keller. I thought he kind of short-armed that a little bit, like he was surprised that he was that wide open. Here comes some mass substitutes. I said before the game, I think Zach Keller is due for his breakout game here. He spent time in the hospital with pneumonia as the season was starting. He's just kind of recovering or getting all the way back physically. But boy, he's a talented kid. Off the floor now. Mike Sharaf making his first appearance tonight after starting all the games this season until tonight.
Sharaf just 4 minutes Saturday, had 2 points, and did not see the floor in the second half. Jake Wallane knocks down the 3.
Wow, did he shoot that nice. That had a ton of backspin on it. He shot that with great confidence. Jake Wallane, 8 points and 3 assists off the bench. Had he got 1 more basket, he would have been the 3rd double-digit scorer off the bench for the running Utes. He still, even though his minutes have been cut since Lawson Lovering's back, still is tied for the team's lead in rebounds and steals.
Sterling Young, another misfire from Florida A&M. Sharaf finds Mason Madsen, and he drills the 3.
Nice pass by Sharaf. It's good to see him getting back on track a little bit. He is the backup point guard behind Miro Little, and boy, he really did a really nice drive and execution there. The running Utes so cooking on the front burner so far, up 18-3. We'll be right back, folks. And they did something almost unheard of. They had 32 field goals and 29 assists. I don't know that I've ever seen that high a ratio in all my years of being around college basketball, but they've been terrific sharing the ball. And I think Craig Smith gets, and his staff, of course, a lot of credit for that. The kids celebrate and assist just about as much as they do a made basket.
Craig Smith feels like this is the best shooting team he's had in his 4 seasons in Salt Lake City. Chapman fires away and knocks down Florida A&M's second 3-ball in the opening minutes tonight.
I thought Mike Sharaf did a pretty good job defensively there. Got a hand up and contested it, but Chapman just buried that one.
Chapman, the senior from Alabama by way of Shelton State Community College. Wallane dishes. Madsen finds an open shot of Jumps, and he's on target.
Boy, that's good news for Sharaf Jumps, the Utes, and the Ute fans. He has really struggled these last 4 games to shoot it in. He's made a couple really nice plays now. That's the Mike Sharaf Jumps that we were used to early in the season. crowd.
Chapman was stumbling there. That's already the 6th Florida A&M giveaway.
Excuse me, Chris. That was a really nice switch there by Jack Wallin and Mike Sharabjans. Two big guys switching out on a perimeter, and that length and quickness kind of caused that turnover, I think.
Meanwhile, Utah 8 of 14 on this end, with 5 of those makes from distance. It's shot up jumps again, and he buries the 3. Back-to-back long-range makes for Mongolian Mike.
Great ball movement there, and Jake Wallin giving up a very good look for a better look for his teammate, and that is a message we've been preaching all day. Great team basketball, making the extra pass, giving extra good looks at the basket by being unselfish.
Utah accidentally tapped that one in.
Yeah, Lawson Lovering knew that as soon as that ball went through, that he just couldn't grab it and ended up just kind of tapping it in himself.
Paint points for Jake Wallin. He's got 5 early points off the bench, and right now Utah getting whatever they want on the offensive end.
I had a brief conversation with Craig Smith today, and something he said just sticks out in my mind about Jake Wallin. He said, no, I can plug him in about anywhere I need him, and just very versatile and a great teammate is Jake Wallin.
3rd steal for the Utes. Shot up jumps across the floor. Mason Madsen tees a 3 and hits.
Boy, they are just shooting ducks in a barrel right now, and it's not really all that bad a defense by the Rattlers. The Utah unselfishness really showing itself here with great ball movement and passing around the perimeter.
A 21-point lead for the running Utes in their final non-conference home game as Chapman's fouled on the way up. So Jordan Chapman, who had a season-high 13 points last month in a game at SMU, and has been shooting it really well of late. 8 made threes over his last 5 games. Will take the first free throws of the contest for Florida A&M, and the Rattlers are about ready for a line change. There are 5 FAMU players standing in front of the scorers table.
And look at the Utes lineup right now, Chris. 4 guys off the bench. The only starter out there right now is Lawson Lovering, again, just to strengthen the point of their depth and talent coming off the bench. And a guy we haven't seen for a little bit is Keanu Dawes, who did not play the last game, has had a huge impact, a double-double down at Mississippi State and a couple double-digit rebounding games. Big, strong transfer from Rice. And if he gets going again, that just makes this Ute team even deeper on that bench.
Just one more game after this one for Utah before the Big 12 schedule commences New Year's Eve at Baylor. Craig Smith would really like a handle on what his rotation looks like at the start of conference play. And here's a chance for some of these guys that haven't seen much time the last couple weeks. Shot up jumps is one of them, and he is sizzling off the bench with 8 points.
Look at that. He wants to smile, but he's not. I mean, finally he's found his shooting touch again. He's got to feel good about things. This is a huge Ute lineup right now with that front line. 6'10", 6'10", 6'9", 6'8" point guard, and Hunter Erickson at 6'3", the only other player out there.
Jacoby Hendricks knocking down the FAMU triple. He scored in double figures 3 of his last 4 games. Shot up jumps with a heat check. Book it.
Holy mackerel. You talk about hotter than a cheap pistol. Mike Sharabjans, who has struggled mightily shooting the ball in the last 4 games, is now just lighting it up. Only 4 of 18, 0 for 5 from 3 in the last 4 games, and he has yet to miss, shooting with all the confidence in the world. Just an amazing turnaround for this kid.
He had started the first 9 games of the season, comes off the bench for the first time all year tonight, and he opens 4 for 4 from the field with a game-high 11 points in 5 minutes.
You love the way he held his follow-through there on that last shot. I think that is really one of the principal elements of a good shooter. You got to stay in your shot and hold your follow-through, and he's done that on every one of his jump shots so far.
Young driving, shot of jumps, grabs the miss. Utes want to push. Madsen, sidestep on the way. It bounces off. And O'Neal going after the loose ball, could not hold on to it. A reload here for Utah.
Great hustle by Zach Keller there, going to the glass, getting a hand on it. Now he won't get credit for that rebound, but he got his teammates another possession. Watch Gabe Madsen now probably set this up screen and then get a screen. Look, he's right under the basket now. I'm going to say he's going to up screen for Keanu Dawes. Well, he didn't, but he came off 2 screens. And as I said, if you're guarding him on an in out of bounds play, you might as well accept they're going to go to him for a shot.
Matthews buries the triple.
Boy, he's got a nice looking jump shot as well. Milton Matthews came with the coach from St. Thomas in Florida, where he led them in scoring the last 2 years at about 19 points a game.
Madsen gets whacked on the way up. And the leading scorer in the Big 12 will take a couple free throws on the other side. Well, the University of Utah lost a member of its family this week.
Goes against only 2 turnovers. And what I've said all along, they do a great job of sharing it, and they don't turn it over very much.
Gabe Madsen leads the Big 12 in scoring and 3-point shooting. 5th-year senior from Rochester, Minnesota, who spent his freshman season at Cincinnati.
Only his 4th missed free throw all year.
You had to unjinx him real quick.
Yeah, I did. I wanted to get that in there. I figured that was your fault that he messed that up. But I was going to talk about, which I did last game, how he lines that ball up. He shoots a great free throw in terms of his mechanics. There's a reason he's only missed 4 free throws all year. He shoots them the right way.
Milton Matthews steps back, missed it off the side of the rim, and it bounces out near the Utah bench.
I touched on him a little bit a while ago about following his coach from St. Thomas in Florida. Milton Matthews last year had a 45-point game at St. Thomas in Florida, where he had 11 made threes. I tell you what, then that was a really nice shot there, where he created it with a little crossover and a step back. You've got to kind of pay attention where he's at, or he'll cut you up a little bit.
Has made at least 2 threes in every game this season, including 4 triples in a game at Clemson. Beautiful feed from Asar to Madsen. He couldn't finish it. Lovering on the offensive glass, goes back up and scores off the window.
Really nice. That was a nice play that Gabe Madsen missed, and then a terrific offensive rebound by Lovering, and a nice post move to put it back. Lawson Lovering has taken his team to a new level after they played 5 games without him.
Quick trigger from Miro Little. Sterling Young takes it to the rim. Erickson has the loose ball for the running Utes. Alley-oop. Asar couldn't finish it. Erickson gets it back, and he misses underneath.
That's back-to-back shots that the Utes have missed. Actually 3 if you count Asar's missed dunk right at the rim. Or 3 of the last 4 Lovering managed to put his in.
Caleb Washington tried to follow up his miss.
Watch this great cut and great pass by Asar to Gabe Madsen. There's a great feel for the game. That's what I call an instinctive cut there. And then Lovering kind of cleaning things up, not only with a great offensive rebound, but a great step through for post guy. Of course, Lawson Lovering, 7'1", 240 pounds, has arms from here to Hoboken. So when he gets in and around that basket, he can kind of treetop you down there. I think, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, he's kind of taken this team to a new level, obviously with his presence. But remember, Chris, last game we did, he dove on the floor for 2 different loose balls. And that, I tell you, that just sets a standard for the rest of the play. When you got a guy 7'1", 240, playing that hard, getting on the floor, boy, everyone else better measure up as well.
Utah has no trouble with the full court pressure. Little stops on a dime, and he's fouled by Jordan Chapman. You're a little more aggressive on the offensive end tonight. Only attempted 5 shots, had 7 points Saturday against Radford. That was his 3rd field goal attempt early in this game, and will have a chance at his first points. Tops in the Big 12 in assists per game. averaging more than 5.5.
And how about this for a point guard? He's 9th in the Big 12 in defensive rebounding. He's had 2 different double-digit rebound games this year against St. Mary's, which I think was maybe the best team other than Mississippi State, who's now number 25 in the nation. He had his first career double-double, and I tell you, did everything but lead the band at halftime. I thought he was terrific against St. Mary's.
Spent last season at Baylor, where Utah opens its conference schedule New Year's Eve. It'll be a return to Waco for he and Caleb Lohner. Reach and foul up top on Ezra Asar.
Well, I'm always very conscious of not trying to coach someone that's not my team, but I called Merrill Little over today, and I said, Merrill, and I had the team picture, the individual profile pictures. I said, you've got to do a little bit better next year. Boy, he looked at me, what? I said, you've got to take a better picture than this. I'm telling you, he looked like he had been brought in for grand theft larceny or something. He looked awful in his team picture, and he laughed. He said, I wouldn't tell my mom you said that, but and he did. He took an awful picture. But he's an awful good player, let me tell you that, and a good kid.
To each his own, Coach. I thought he looked beautiful. Utah 22 in this opening half. Final non-conference game inside the Huntsman Center for the Runnin' Utes. And Utah turns it over.
3-second call, I think they called, which hadn't been called in college basketball since the Dead Sea was only sick. I don't know that I've seen a 3-second call this year. Not saying that someone wasn't in there for 3 seconds. I thought he called that. I may be wrong.
Second opening half 3 falls for Jordan Chapman, who's now got 14 triples on the season. 5 of FAMU's 6 makes from the field from 3-point territory. Madsen finds Lohner. Out to Miro Little. And he's off target. Lohner, as it ricochets into the backcourt. And Madsen knocked to the floor by Chapman. That's the 7th on Florida A&M, and it's bonus basketball the rest of these opening half 5 minutes for Utah.
I talked about Lawson Lovering, how he's taken this team physically to a different level. Caleb Lohner has done that himself at 6'8", 240 pounds. And he has played, this is his 134th game. For those who don't know, this is only his 3rd game back. He played football all year, caught 4 touchdown passes. He is quite a physical specimen, but started his career at BYU, where last year he started 31 of 35 games. So he's not just a guy that came in from the football field. He's a very good basketball player and a presence physically.
Craig Smith detailed how valuable it was to have him in practice for a full week in between the St. Mary's and Radford games, as Caleb Washington sinks the baseline jump shot at a season-high 22 points in that 130-point outing for Florida A&M last Friday at home.
Yeah, he was 10 of 12 from the field, which was his season high, and that was a nice pull-up there over Asar.
This time Asar reached in on and fouled by Washington, who was the team's highest-rated recruit of the offseason. Teammates with Mike Shotofjomps a couple years ago with the Dayton Flyers. And right on cue, Mongolian Mike, and his game-high 11 points. Check back in for Craig Smith.
Mike Shotofjomps, 4 of 4 from the field, 3 of 3 from the 3-point line to lead all scorers with 11 points and throw in an assist and no turnovers there. He's had quite the first half.
Utah just 2 for 8 as a team from the free throw stripe. Asar's missed his first 3 attempts. And on target with the front end of the 1-and-1 here.
You know, that's not something that's new for this team. When you look at their stats and think, what is it they're not doing well? They're only shooting 66% from the free throw line. Now, Asar gets there a whole bunch, but there's some other guys on the team who's not exactly knocking them down with the level of regularity that you need.
Ezra Asar has already drawn 4 fouls in this game. Second nationally, averaging 9 fouls drawn per 40 minutes. That's arguably his best asset on the offensive end of the floor. 40 first half points for Utah, shy of the 4-minute mark in the opening 20. Washington lets it fly with a hand in his face, and he sticks the 3.
And that's pretty good defense by Asar. He and Washington got a little game going on within the game there, but Caleb Washington just jumped up and drilled that one at 6'8", 210 pounds.
Only his third tray of the season. Lohner to the rim, and the putback slam will not count for Asar. There was a foul on Florida A&M, sending Caleb Lohner to the line when we return. Utah shooting 52% from the field. The Utes have knocked down 8 opening half trays, up 16 at home over FAMU. World of college basketball, and in our Utes legend spotlight, we'll flash back just about a decade to a guy that helped the Utes become a player in the Pac-12 and is currently in the NBA. We're talking about DeLon Wright, plus stats and first half highlights, all coming up at the break. DeLon Wright playing in the NBA Cup championship game tonight with the Milwaukee Bucks and Oklahoma City Thunder, not too far away from here in Las Vegas.
He's had a very, very nice NBA career. 6'6" point guard out of the Bay Area. And the Utes free throw woes continue. Now only 4 of 11. Make that 4 of 12. And what's amazing, they're shooting 52% from the game, 50% from the free throw line, and now less than 40%. I mean 50% from the three-point line. I think I missaid that. And only now less than 40% from the free throw line.
Well, because of the foul situation, we'll go right from a free throw Utah miss to Florida A&M taking the front end of a 1-and-1, and it's Jameen Charles, junior from Antigua by way of Blinn Junior College. All sorts of free throw misses this opening half.
Boy, that was a bad free throw. That looked like Gaylord Perry's knuckleball going that. Nice job by Wallin handling the ball as a 6'10" point guard almost, and then a great pass.
Caleb Lohner fouled again.
Let's see if Lohner can stay in his shot, hold that follow through here, and shoot this one a little bit better. He's actually a pretty good shooter. But those 2 last free throws were not shot real well. You want to go up with your elbow, not forward with your forearm like you're throwing darts here, to get a little lift on the ball. Let's see if he can go up with his elbow and then hold his follow through.
Third foul on Caleb Washington joins FAMU's Shakir O'Neal with 3 opening half fouls.
That's just like you draw it up there. That was a nice touch.
Just Caleb Lohner's 3rd game on the hardwood with these running Utes after catching 4 passes, all for touchdowns. Also had a tackle and blocked a field goal this fall for Kyle Whittingham's Utes.
Mike Sharaf jumps back in the game. The game's leading scorer with 11 points coming off the bench.
A steal for Mason Madsen. Here comes Lohner with the feed, and Lovering hammers it through.
Great pass by Caleb Lohner, and a great job of handling the ball by Mason Madsen. He should get a hockey assist on that. His pass led to the pass that led to the basket.
And now leather larceny from Lohner, filling up the stat sheet. It's shot of jumps. His first miss. And last touched by Jameen Charles.
Look the way Mason Madsen set this up, gives it to Caleb Lohner, and Lohner, just like a 6'8" point guard, giving it to Lawson Lovering. Lawson Lovering helped himself by stepping to the place that he should have to receive that pass.
Caleb Lohner has his fingerprints all over this final stretch of the opening 20.
Utah's just killing them on end-out-of-bounds plays. I bet that's about their 4th score on end-out-of-bounds plays.
Chapman leans in, missed it badly. Nice defense from Wallin, who secures the rebound for Utah. And poked out by Washington.
Really nice individual defense by Jake Wallin there, using his lateral quickness and then size. You know, there's not a whole lot to defense other than staying down, staying between your man and the basket. Nothing fancy, and Jake Wallin did just that.
Utah is shooting 53% from the field in this opening half. 8 makes from three-point territory for the running Utes. Lovering fouled on the floor.
Just about got mugged there on the way he was trying to back his guy down.
Saeed Burnside, redshirt junior, getting some run here down the stretch of the opening 20, picking up the foul. Putting Lawson Lovering, the ex-Colorado Buffalo, at the free throw stripe. His second season at Utah, started 24 games last year for a running Utes team that went to the semifinal round of the NIT, 17-2 at home last season. And they will match up against one of the teams they took out in the NIT over the weekend, the Iowa Hawkeyes in Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
Yep. Lawson Lovering has his own struggles going on from the free throw line now. 5 of 16 for the season. He's got 3 double-figure games in his 4 games he's played, and has had a huge impact on the defensive end, a legitimate rim protector, 7'1".
Final 2 minutes of the opening 20 from Salt Lake City. And a reach-in foul on Lohner on the entry pass to Saeed Burnside.
Silly foul by a guy with that much experience reaching over the back. I used to have a soapbox sermon, so to speak, with my post guys. They don't get any points for just catching it down there. Why would you reach over the back and get a silly foul like that? Sometimes they listened and sometimes they didn't.
In one ear, out the other,
as the saying goes.
Well, Saeed Burnside, this is his second stint at Florida A&M. Had left for a year to go to Connors State, a top JUCO program, before returning to finish his degree. Redshirt junior from Greenville, South Carolina.
And the Rattlers jump back into that hard press with a hard first trap. Utah once again doing a pretty good job getting the ball reversed and handling the pressure.
Mason Madsen at the controls, finds Lovering, and he lost it on the way up. Poked out by Florida A&M with 14 to shoot.
I tell you, they have done a great job of sharing the ball, but the other thing that kind of flies under the radar, they do a great job, the Utah speaking of spacing the floor. They have really great floor balance and spacing. Here's yet another end out of bounds play that the Utes are going to score on.
Look out below, it's Keanu Dawes.
And Lawson Lovering with a great pass for a 7'1" point guard, so to speak. He's done a nice job of really passing out of the post today.
First points for the Rice transfer, who sat out his first game of the season on Saturday. Washington knocks down the 3.
Washington once again, as we talked about, coming off his season high 22 points, where he was 10 of 14 and 2 of 4 from the 3-point line, having a good first half.
Mongolian Mike with a finger roll finish.
And just such a nice pass by Mason Madsen. Remember a little bit ago I said he got a hockey assist. He has such a great feel for the game, a great feel for spacing. His 5th year, and he's another guy who has got a lot of games, his 125th game, but he brings so much that doesn't show up on the stat sheet with his experience and his understanding of the game.
Shot clock at a single digits. Washington skips it. Burnside with patience and a finish.
I'm not sure who that was on the bottom of that weak side. Someone kind of fell asleep at the switch over there, and Keanu Dawes got there a little late. I'm not sure that was his help, but that may be the first real mistake I've seen the Utes make here on rotation defense.
Utah taking that use it or lose it timeout. Here are a couple guys that have seen their playing time dwindle, but getting into the act in Utah's final home game of the year.
Well, a great pass by Lovering, and then a great finish by Dawes, who went up with both hands and played through the hit. And that's where I talked about Mason Madsen's great feel for the game. Kind of took his foot off the gas pedal a little bit, so to speak, and created a passing lane to Mongolian Mike Sharavjamps, who now has 13 to lead all scorers.
Mike Shotov-Jumps had scored a combined 8 points Utah's last 4 games. First time all year he's come off the bench, and almost feel like that has lit a fire under Shotov-Jumps, who's got 13 points on 5 of 6 shooting and 3 3-point makes in this opening half.
Well, you know, sometimes as a head coach, you kind of push a button and it doesn't work, and you think, man, that didn't work. Every once in a while you push a button that really works, and I think what Craig Smith did with taking him out of the lineup and putting Hunter Erickson in the lineup has obviously really helped Mike Sherrodlins. Took a little pressure off of him, give him a little bit different feel coming in off the bench. He's been outstanding here in this first half.
Mason Madsen missed it, and it crawls up over the backboard and gives FAMU 4.3 seconds. Jake Wallin will check in for Mason Madsen. Keanu Dawes in for Gabe Madsen. So Utah 54% from the field in this opening half. FAMU has gotten it together after that extremely frigid start. They now hover around 40% from the field, but they've turned it over 10 times. Go the length of the floor here with 4.3 seconds. And it comes to Taylor, racing into the front court. He steps into a 3 and missed it. So 15 of FAMU's 26 opening half attempts from 3-point territory, but Utah up.
And Utah comes out with their original starters with Hunter Erickson starting the second half, and Mike Sherrodlins was so good coming off the bench. Coach Smith said, well, let's try it again this half.
Jordan Chapman boards his miss from distance. His second effort here for the Rattlers, just their 4th offensive rebound tonight. Washington fades, fires, and it trickles off, tapped back skyward. Taylor in among the trees, puts it back.
Utah out-rebounded the Rattlers 21-16 in that first half, but no quitting the Rattlers here to start the second half.
Yeah, gritty opening possession for FAMU. Preseason pick to finish 11th out of 12 teams in the SWAC this year. Madsen fires away. It wiggles out. Nero Little grabs the second effort for Utah.
Nero Little at the point guard is the second leading rebounder on this team and the 9th leading defensive rebounder in the entire Big 12.
Little misses the straight on 3. Lovering crashing into the Utah bench, could not save it.
Little having trouble finding his range tonight. 0 for 4, all of them from the 3-point line.
Came in shooting 34% from distance. No question he's a pass-first point guard, but any type of offense and scoring he provides can be a big plus for this Utah team. Milton Matthews finds Chapman. He swings it to Taylor.
Nice defense guarding the ball there. This Utah team does a really nice job guarding the dribble drive.
Last moment hoist, and Leonard Taylor could not connect. Nice defense playing through the shot clock for Utah. Utes in search of their first second half points. Asar backs in Matthews across the lane, and Lovering couldn't finish the flush, but he was fouled on the way up.
A very unique characteristic of this running Ute team that has developed is how well they make those paint-to-paint, big-to-big passes here. And Asar, that's the second time, maybe third time tonight, as he reads the double team, and then Lawson Lovering is the recipient of his great passing out of the post.
Utah hoping to shoot it better from the free throw stripe this second half after missing 10 of their 16 attempts from the stripe in the opening 20.
About 37.5 from the free throw line. As I said earlier, that's been kind of a bugaboo with them all year, only shooting 67%, and they are extraordinarily bad tonight. And that's one of those things as a coach, the more you talk about it, the more of an issue you make out. Sometimes the worse it gets. Sometimes you're better off not even addressing it other than, hey, guys, we need to make a free throw.
Second one bounces in for the big fella. He's got 6 points tonight. 18-point lead for the Utes at home. Eatman, it's deflected and stolen by Miro Little. The hit ahead to Madsen, and he misses the tomahawk. Taken back by Asar, and he rattles the lamps out on Campus Drive.
Nice steal by Little, nice pass ahead, and Gabe Madsen would like to have 2 or 3 of those back this year. He's missed about 3 of those like that. He's tried to throw down and couldn't make go all the way down.
That was Utah's first made field goal of the second half. Deep 3 from Sterling Young, and he missed everything.
Watch this steal by Miro Little, who leads the team in steals. They're actually tied with Wallin, and Gabe Madsen just a little power shortage there, and the SAR there to kind of clean the mess up.
Madsen knifes inside, drops it off, and Lovering powers it through.
Just a textbook in their half-court movement, passing, spacing. This is as good as I've seen Utah play in half-court offensively. And none of these are set plays. They're just playing. They're just playing good half-court team basketball.
Jameen Charles spins to his left, and it rolls off. There's Madsen going baseline. Little to the rack. Had it knocked away. And reached in on this drive. A foul on Florida A&M, second on the Rattlers this half.
This is the epitome of great ball movement, great people movement, and unselfishness, as Gabe Madsen is the recipient of that ball reversal. The more times you can get the ball reversed, the higher your percentage is going to be, your shooting percentage is going to be. And the Utes got that ball moved, and they're about to score yet again on an end out of bounds play. I bet they've got 5, maybe 6 baskets on end out of bounds play.
Patrick Crary not happy with his team's defense out of that last inbound pass, and can't be happy with that unforced giveaway. A timeout on the floor. Utah 7-2 start to the second half. Up 24 in their final non-conference home game. Tough game before then, over the weekend against a quality Iowa Hawkeyes squad.
4 teams in the pack are in the Big 12 in the top 25 right now. Last year, when there were only 12 teams in the league, they sent 8 of them to the NCAA. That's any indication of the strength of the league.
Ezra Asar spins and scores. He's got 10 points.
Asar having a very impressive night now with his 6th double-digit figure scoring game of the short season.
Had a steal there before it caught the sneaker of Jacoby Hendricks. Hey, the Big 12 only trails the SEC in conference net. Utah woke up 58th in the net this morning. The 2 losses, both quad 1 losses, and no shortage of quad 1 opportunities on the horizon for this running Utes team. Hendricks had it, but he stepped out.
Well, those 2 losses that the Utes suffered were from teams. Mississippi State now is in the top 25. St. Mary's earlier in the week, both teams combined were 18-2, 9-1 apiece. Not checked in the last 2 days, but they've lost to 2 very, very good teams.
Kip Kissinger handing Patrick Crary a technical foul and putting Gabe Madsen at the free throw line for a pair.
Watch Gabe Madsen's technique on this free throw. I've talked about it before, how he gets it right to his shooting pocket there and lines it up and holds his follow through. That's really textbook. Even though he missed one earlier in the night, coming into this game, he was 24 of 27, 89%. As they say back home, that ain't love, but it ain't bad.
11-0 stretch put together by Utah the last 2.5 minutes. It's Little spinning down low and rejected by Charles. It's going to stay here. Little still looking for that first field goal tonight. He's now missed all 5 of his attempts.
4 of those were 3-point shots that he had lined up pretty well, but just couldn't make one drop.
Lovering, bumping, and missing inside. And it's off the fingertips of Ezra Asar.
Merrill Little has 4 double-digit games this year. Was averaging just under 10, 9.2 coming into this game. But as I said, he's the second leading rebounder on this team at 6 rebounds a game, and also leads them in assists and assist-to-turnover ratio. About a 3-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio for Merrill Little. So even when he's not scoring, he does a whole bunch of other things to help this team.
Foul away from the basketball on Hunter Erickson.
Hunter Erickson got switched to a big guy on that ball screen on the roll, and I tell you what, when he does that, he goes to war physically with the post guy he's trying to guard down there. He got caught that time. In their last game, we did a video on him, a highlight that showed him battling down there, where he won that battle and forced the big into a travel.
Washington glides in. And tapped it back. That was awfully close from hanging around on the cylinder.
Yes, it was.
And second chance points for Caleb Washington, who's played well tonight. 9 points, 3 boards, 3 assists. And Sterling Young commits the reach-in foul on Miro Little.
If you had brought that whistle I told you to, Chris, we could have called that from over here. Maybe got away with it, but you sometimes just don't follow all my instructions coming into the game.
I'm a bad listener, Coach. It's probably why I'm on the naughty list and getting that big lump of coal.
Well, I said, you're becoming a little more coachable, but we need a little more time. Wow, that was a quick burst of speed there.
Roderick Hendricks couldn't finish it. And here comes Miro Little, who's fouled from behind by Washington. 3rd foul on Caleb Washington, junior from Mableton, Georgia.
Excuse me, Chris. Clever little point guard move there by Miro Little, sensing the guy behind him and kind of adjusting his gait and direction to cause a little collision there. And watch this, as the guy's a couple steps behind him, and Miro Little kind of forces the issue there and picks up the foul.
Well, Shaquille O'Neal's son Shakir seeing his first second-half action for Florida A&M. Sidelined much of that first half with 3 fouls. Shakir in his first season at FAMU after 3 seasons at Texas Southern.
Transferring within the league, Texas Southern picked number 2 in the league this year. Grambling number 1 in the Southwest Athletic Conference.
That Grambling State represented the SWAC in the big dance last year.
Played Montana State, I believe, in the play-in game, which was a heck of a game. Montana State led for most of that game, and Grambling wouldn't go away and came back and ended up pulling off the win and then advancing to the round of 64.
Washington tried to feed it to Charles, but he loses the handle out of bounds. Florida A&M, they have had turnover woes all night, and that's their 15th.
Utah now playing with that big lineup. Jake Wallin at 6'10" at the small forward, and then Keller at 6'10", and then Caleb Lohner at the power forward at 6'8", 240.
O'Neal could not score underneath. A little helter-skelter pace. 13 minutes left in a lopsided contest. Mason Madsen. Short. Wallin grabs the second effort, and Little throws it away.
Things getting a little disjointed here. We need to, both teams can kind of use a little deep breath here. Mike Sharavjam's back in the game for Miro Little. Mike Sharavjam's all year, even though he started alongside Little, has been the backup point guard. He's been outstanding here tonight.
All right, FAMU takes a timeout to try and steady this sloppy stretch of a second half in Salt Lake City with Utah up big.
Always a threat to go deep into the tournament. Cincinnati kind of a little resurgence, so to speak, there. And University of Houston under Kelvin Sampson, they are always a threat with those great athletes and how hard they play and how they guard you.
And Kansas was tops in the country before suffering back-to-back losses at Creighton and Missouri last week. Got back on track with the win at the Phog against NC State.
The last time we had Utah against Radford just a few days ago, they played a lot with a small lineup, 3 perimeter guys around a couple post guys. Tonight, Coach Smith is playing a lot with a very, very big team, and you add Mike Sharabjans at 6'8" to the point guard position. You're talking about one of the biggest teams in the nation.
Wallin kicks. It's Mason Madsen for 3.
Mason Madsen, while his brother leads the Big 12 in threes made, he's 6th in the league with made threes and 8th in three-point field goal percentage. They are quite the dynamic duo when it comes to the three-point line.
Sterling Young still scoreless tonight, now 0 for 8 from the field.
Their leading scorer, coming off a game where he only played 15 minutes and had 25 points, 7 of 9 from the field, 6 of 7 from the three-point line. So he's having a very surprisingly poor game here in the Huntsman Center.
The running Utes eyeing second chance points. Shot clock into single digits. Keller spins left, almost wrapped it in, and a late whistle.
Mason Madsen, like his brother, shooting it in from 3. He gets the steal, gets the pass back, and the Utes just continue to shoot it in. Come on back, folks. For all at power type conference schools, but they've got a couple home games in and kind of got things turned around. Now they're back on the road for an extended period of time. That's kind of life in the SWAC.
A lot of fundraising games. This is their 6th power conference game. They'll play 7 by the time it's all said and done.
And the Utes' woes from the free throw line continue, and Coach Smith continues to play this big lineup together.
No soft spots rest of the way for Utah.
And as I tell Craig Smith, now the varsity season begins as they get into Big 12 play, and no one's more aware of it than him, I guarantee you.
Leonard Taylor buries the step back 3. Florida A&M has only scored 7 points since halftime.
And the Utes just continue to build on that great bench strength. They've had 10 guys score and 8 guys have an assist.
Madsen's open, and he cashes in from long range.
Mason Madsen now 4 of 8 from the three-point line. Really kind of finding his rhythm here. He's got 5 double-digit games. He's the 4th leading scorer on the team, averaging just under 11 points. Anytime you got 4 double-digit scores on your team, you're got pretty good balance and you're scoring the ball pretty well.
Keller across the lane, and the big tight end Caleb Lohner rumbling downhill earns a couple more free throws.
We were talking about Mason Madsen kind of feeling tonight. He's made 5 threes, or had 5 games where he's made 3 games where he's made 5 threes, excuse me. So him shooting it in is really not something we haven't seen this year.
Utah matching their 3-point made total from Saturday's 81-63 win over Radford. Utah averaging about 11.5 made threes per game this season, which is good for 7th in the country, tops in the Big 12.
You know, it's interesting. That really is not the way Craig Smith plays. He's kind of an inside-out guy usually, and we talked about it a little bit. He said, you know, this is not really my philosophy to run down and shoot a bunch of threes, but he said, you know, we've kind of been taking all year what the defense gives us, and we've been making them. So, you know, we've kind of morphed, so to speak, into a three-point shooting team, which doesn't mean they don't go inside. It just means they've got a good group of shooters, and they're taking what the defense gives them.
Remember, Utah opened the season by setting a single-game program record with 19 threes in consecutive games against Alcorn State and Central Arkansas.
In that second game, they made 19 threes, and all, which, as you said, tied the school record. Also set the school record by taking 53 point attempts in that game.
That is absolutely taking what the defense gives you. O'Neal skips it. Washington has it roll off the sneaker of shot of jumps. It pinballs around, somehow stays in, and here come the running Utes. They give it right back. Shakir O'Neal with the steal.
The 8th turnover for the Utes. There, Mason Madsen a little bit loose with the ball, so to speak, and now going to pick up a foul on his post defense.
The foul was not on the shot. It was away from the basketball on Mason Madsen. Trey Lewis, who was a junior college All-American last season and started some games early, getting his first action of the night for Florida A&M, while Craig Smith sends a fresh 5 to the scorer's table. Washington lost it. Another Rattler giveaway, their 18th turnover tonight.
Craig Smith, of his 5 coming in, 4 of them are his starters, and then Keanu Dawes, the 5th, who will come in.
Wallin spins right and scores with a kiss off the glass.
I tell you, Jake Wallin is about as handy as a shirt pocket. He, as Craig Smith said, I can just plug him in just about anywhere, and he's pretty effective.
Burnside couldn't muscle it up over the Keller defense. Madsen, you bet, his 5th triple tonight.
It's his 3rd game with 5 made threes this year.
And Utah pouring it on now, a 23-5 surge the last 10 minutes. The defense has been really good this second half. Washington tried to line drive from long range.
We've been kind of concentrating on how good they've been on offense. They've been awfully good on defense.
Well, an offensive foul on Caleb Lohner will take us to a timeout. It's raining threes in Salt Lake City tonight. Mason Madsen has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the running Utes, rolling at home in their final non-conference game.
Part by that guy right there, Mason Madsen, 5 of 9 from the three-point line. The 3rd time this year he's had 5 made threes, tying his season high 15. He has been in rhythm, great footwork all night.
Well, Mason Madsen has knocked down 5 of the 11 triples for Utah. The defense from the running Utes has stymied the Rattlers, held them to 7 points in 13 minutes to start this second half. And it's a dominant 23-5 run to all but put this game away.
You know what's really good about that, Chris, is sometimes you build one of those big halftime leads and your team just kind of takes the second half off and relaxes, and you know it turns a little bit crazy and not much execution. There's been not much drop off by these running Utes this second half, especially at the defensive end.
FAMU just 3 of 16 from the field since we got the second half started. Lewis, Eatman not a threat from out there. Matthews with a hand in his face. Eatman on the offensive glass. Here comes O'Neal slithering in for the putback.
How about that? I wouldn't say up and over, but in and around the 7'1" Lovering, and let Lawson Lovering catch it like that, rolling to the basket. That's not going to have a very good day.
Lawson Lovering now with 10 points.
His 4th double-figure game in the 5 games he's played this year.
Count it, and a foul for Jadarius Eatman.
Watch O'Neal on this double clutch here. Nice pass from his teammate, went up between 2 big defenders. Great concentration and a great completion by the big kid.
As great as Pops was, he didn't have that type of quickness.
No, but Pops would have just
broke
the backboard on that, and maybe someone's arm if they got in the way.
Gabe Madsen tees it up. In and out.
Gabe Madsen, by my count, only needs 35 more made threes to tie Nick Jacobson for the all-time leading three-point shooter in the history of running Ute basketball.
Only Shaquille O'Neal with some impressive finishes.
Well, he was one of 3 guys who scored 20 points in that game where they scored 130 against Trinity out of Florida.
Erickson trying to get on the board. It spins off the cylinder. Lovering grabs the second effort, and Little misses the left-hand layup. Dawes, nice pursuit. Erickson.
Erickson, after having that great shooting night on Saturday night, can't hardly find the bottom of the net tonight.
Milton Matthews to the free throw line. Also, FAMU, this is a rebuilding year for their first-year head coach, Patrick Crary. They won just 6 games all of last season, went 4-14 in the SWAC. And you got to go back to 2007. That was the last time they finished a season above 500. They made the big dance that year, one of 3 appearances in their Division I history in the NCAA tournament. That was a year after the great Joe Cravens traded in his clipboard for a headset.
And I remain undefeated ever since then.
Haven't lost a game.
Haven't lost a game yet.
In this seat.
In this seat. And I come across a whole lot smarter than I was as a coach.
I don't know.
Smoke and mirrors.
Those championship rings you wear are pretty bright and shiny.
Well, I tell you what, it's been a you sleep a lot better at night doing this job than you did. Sometimes I look across the court at Craig Smith and coaches like Patrick Crary, and I think, oh boy, I remember those days. This is going to be a long, sleepless night for those guys.
They'll spend a few more nights here in Utah as they visit Provo and BYU Friday. Miro Little misfires, and Lohner whistled for an over-the-back foul. FAMU in the bonus, so the Rattlers will trot down to the other end and take a 1-and-1 free throw.
I tell you, Craig Smith has done a great job with this team. Remember, he's got 10 newcomers here. Florida A&M 10 newcomers. You know, Chris, I'm starting to think that is the rule anymore, not the exception. I mean, almost every team I've broadcasted this year is a product of that transfer portal where, you know, it's 9, 10, 11. You know, even more of that. It's just like at the end of the season, everyone throws their cards in and they're reshuffled and then dealt back out again. It's really a different time in college athletics in general now than it has been just a few years ago.
You know, the portal and NIL has completely changed the landscape of college basketball. Nice feed from Lohner to Ezra Sarr for 2. But it's tough, especially as a mid-low major program like FAMU and a few of the others we've seen roll through Salt Lake City this early season. It's tough to build a program and find consistency when you don't have that within your roster?
Well, I think it's always been hard at that level, and it has just gotten almost impossible, because if you develop a kid and he's gotten pretty good, then the guys above you will come down and steal him, pay him a little money or whatever, you know, goes with this NIL deal. The biggest insult I've heard about the transfer portal is I heard that the Utah mascot Swoop is entering the transfer portal. I don't know what they'll do. I guess they'll have to adopt a new mascot. Swoop is leaving.
Is he really?
Probably got a little NIL money, I guess. I don't know. At times my wife has encouraged me maybe to enter the transfer portal, but I still stick around.
Well, she gave you a pretty good NIL deal a while back.
Yeah.
Lohner scores off the feed from shot of jumps.
Nice pass and a nice finish by big Caleb Lohner. 4 touchdown passes for Caleb Lohner this year.
And 3 field goals for big Caleb Lohner tonight. 3 for 3 from the field. He's got 8 points. A touchdown and a 2-point conversion.
He is a very impressive athlete. Great lateral quickness. Great quickness to the basket.
All right, we know you're eager for these final 3 minutes and 46 seconds from the Huntsman Center. The Utah Utes up 29 over Florida A&M. South Dakota, ESPN2 will have the Hawkeyes and the Utes, a rematch from last season's NIT. Iowa off to an 8-3 start, 1-1 in the Big Ten. Lost their most recent game to number 3 Iowa State. That'll be one of the first Big 12 games on the docket for Utah after opening at Baylor and hosting Texas Tech. O'Neal as time expires on the 30, and Wallin clears it away.
Jake Wallin now with 7 points, 5 rebounds. He's become quite handy, as I've said, off that bench now.
Shot of jump, stops and pops, and a shooter's touch. Boy, he's been on point tonight, Coach.
He now tied Mason Madsen for the high score for the Utes at 15 apiece. Sharaf Jump's season high, career high, just 19. He's had quite the night tonight.
Chapman buries the corner tray. And a shot of jumps efficient too. 6 of 7 from the field, 3 of 4 from distance. Had that 19-point outing here a month ago against Queens.
Boy, they really needed him to get back on track, which is exactly what he has done tonight. He gives him so much versatility with his size. Where he really is handy is against zones, because at 6'8", even as a 2-guard or a 3-man, or a lot of times as a point guard, he has the ability to throw it over the top of the zone that we've seen. Hadn't seen a lot of zone this year, but he is especially effective offensively against the zone.
Caleb Lohner fouled out moments ago. Zach Keller back on the floor to take his place. Hendricks. O'Neal down to the floor.
Good
and
hustle.
Possession arrow gives it back to Utah.
Good hustle by a couple Utes there, getting down on the floor. As I said, that kind of is a trend setter there.
Greg Smith's going to empty out his bench. His son Brady Smith, Jerry Huang, Jewel Karam. Bombseel has checked in too.
Left Keanu Dawes in, which I think is a good thing. In fact, great pass by Keanu Dawes there.
And that's Bombseel powering it down with his first points right off the Utah bench.
So the great teamwork, great passing continues regardless of who's in the game for the running Utes.
24 assists for Utah tonight. Miles Hall, junior from Windermere, Florida, on the board with his first points. Brady Smith finds Huang, and he wraps it in.
Brady Smith with a nice assist.
The redshirt freshman from Taiwan on International Utes night here inside the Huntsman Center. Sterling Young, boy, it's been that type of night for FAMU's leading scorer.
Boy, he has had a hard time. I mentioned earlier, coming off a game where he went 7 of 9 from the field, 6 of 7 from the three-point line.
Brady Smith goes to the bank.
And let's hope that his grandparents, Vern and Beverly Smith, back in Stephen, Minnesota, stayed up to see their grandson get his first basket as a running Ute.
That missed his first 7 attempts this season, but you can never go wrong using that square on the backboard.
Let's see the son of Craig Smith get his first basket, and look at the bench. And again, everyone in Stephen, Minnesota can relax and enjoy the win, and Vern and Beverly's grandson getting his first basket.
Keanu Dawes off the window and in.
Powering his way there. Keanu Dawes, who's had some real highlights this year, a double-double down in their loss at Mississippi State. And has kind of had his minutes cut back a little bit. It's good to see him back on the floor and contributing.
Jameen Charles with the bucket for Florida A&M. But the Utah running Utes pieced together an impressive performance tonight from wire to wire and win their final 2 non-conference games at home and take some momentum to Sioux Falls, South Dakota for a showdown with Iowa on Saturday, nationally televised on ESPN2. 89-59, your final score. Utah wins its penultimate non-conference game by 30 points over Florida A&M.
Well, I thought a pretty good showing at